Hello, and welcome to the Divorced Dadvocate, divorce support for dads, where we help dads create a healthy and less traumatic divorce. My name is Jude Sandoval, and I'm your host. I created this podcast in the Divorced Advocate community as a result of my own high conflict divorce, and because you as a dad deserve all the resources necessary to thrive through this challenging time. I encourage you to check out our website at thedivorcedadvocate.com, where there are resources that correspond to this episode, as well as free access to our membership community, where you will find live meetings, free workshops and courses, private discussion groups, and more. And now, on to this week's episode. Hey, good morning, Andy. I have some other folks jumping on here in no time. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
All right.
Welcome.
Good.
Good morning, Garrett.
Hello.
How are you this morning?
Doing pretty good.
Hey, I got a text from you last night. I have not read yet, so I apologize.
No, it's fine. I did the healthy thing. I went to the gym instead of sitting alone.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, man. I did not even read through this yet. I was
Dude, it's fine.
yeah,
No, it's
I was out last night, so I apologize. I'll read through this and I'll get back with you, all right, buddy? But glad to hear you went to the gym, my friend.
Yep.
Good.
Doing much better in that regard.
You did better than I did yesterday, because I didn't get to the gym yesterday.
Yeah, I'm using the hot tub they have there as motivation because I love hot tubs.
Oh, yeah. Very nice. That is good motivation for sure. Stefan, good morning.
Morning.
How you doing?
Doing okay.
Yeah. You gave me a buzz yesterday. You didn't leave a message.
Yeah. I kind of just needed to. I ended up talking to someone else, but I needed to talk to someone about something that's just happened that would understand what's going on. I had to lay down some pretty hard boundaries with the ex yesterday, and so she's getting ready to take me to court. And it felt good, but at the same time, since boundaries have always been, more difficult for me to set and then just kind of stick by. Yesterday evening, I just kind of stuck to my guns, and so I'm feeling a little bit of like anxiety from it. But at the same time, I'm like, I needed to do what I needed to do.
Good for you, my friend. Way to stick to your guns.
Yeah.
Is it something you're going to feel comfortable sharing with the group so we can talk through it?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Cool. Yeah, it's a little bit challenging at those first times, right? Especially on something big. So
yeah, this is pretty big.
All right. Good for you. Morning, Rob.
Morning, sir. How you doing?
Doing well. How about you?
Doing well.
Very good. Gordon, good morning.
Top of the morning to you guys. How you doing?
Doing well. Looking dapper as usual.
Thank you. I'm getting excited. I'm coming into the home stretch here for the divorce thing. We've got our orders on August 18th, so I am less than a month away.
Awesome, man.
Yep.
That's good news.
Yeah, I'm just ready to have it be done. And I got,
sure?
like I said, I got really, really good news on the home appraisal front, so that was nice.
Good. Yeah, I saw Brian yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and he said he had talked to you. So
yeah,
hopefully he can get something really good done for you. I mean, as good as possible. Actually,
as good as possible.
Actually, if anybody can get something done as good as possible, he can, because he may have explained it. He does a pretty good job of explaining stuff and trying to like help you understand and sort through like what you're hearing is, oh, we'll do it for free and other stuff like that, right?
Right.
Like we'll do your loan for free, right? Because there's no such thing as free. Like none of these banks or anybody else is out there doing stuff for free. So it gets wrapped into a percentage rate or something like that. But if anybody can get you the lowest possible like scenario, he can definitely do it. So
sadly, the lowest possible scenario is looking around 6%, or 6.5%, which is not great. That is going to be very expensive. So we'll see.
Well, definitely more expensive than the last one you did, right?
Yeah, where I was at 2.8. Yeah, that's going to be a little more expensive.
The first place I bought was when loans were 12 to 15% back.
Okay, good.
I'm dating myself.
Well, the nice part is you probably paid that off by now.
No, it was worth half of what I paid for it when the market tanked in the late 80s. I ended up walking away from it.
Oh, there you go. That's not a
I
bad
was about
idea.
to say, at least back then, homes were affordable.
Yeah.
Well, I've been selling real estate long enough to remember a time, and this was like the last one of the lesson I learned not to ever say this again. It was like rates were coming down, and this is probably let's see, what was it when they dropped the rates really quickly, and I don't know, 15 years ago, maybe 12 years ago, and I was saying, I can't ever see it going much below 5%, because historically I've never been below 5%. So now we're at just above 5%, going, oh, this is awful. This is, so it's all relative, right? All right, fellas. Well, we'll get rolling here. It's about 5 after, and we'll let people jump on as they come in. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Good to see all of you. Got a new face today. So let's go around. Let's do our introductions. We're just going to spend a couple of minutes sharing a little bit about what you've got going on. Share maybe where you're at in your process with the divorce. How many kids you have. If you've got an issue or anything like Stefan was talking about that you want to bring up and share, then please do so in the intros, and we won't necessarily get into it, or we won't get into it right off the bat during the intros, but I'll take some notes here, and we'll definitely take the time to get through any issues and anything everybody wants to talk about. So, and I didn't say hey to Ken. Good morning, Ken. So let's see, we're going to start as you appear on my screen, and that would make Stefan numero uno.
Hey guys, I'm Stefan. So I've been with this group before. Most all of you seem pretty new to me. I got divorced about 3 years ago. Actually, next week is the 3-year anniversary of that. So I've got 2 little boys, and so this is coming up on 3 years now, and somehow I've just talked to other people, and so I thought this was pretty normal, but it might be something like not. Somehow I got roped into paying 60% to her 40% on shared services and stuff. And she's the only one that uses childcare, and so that's been an issue because I get random bills saying that I need to pay my part when I don't even know who these people are that are watching my kids, and I have 50-50 decision making and everything too. And so I'm kind of like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. And also I'm looking to change like child support as well as fixing this 40-60 thing. And so yesterday, over text, we kind of like got into it, and she threatened to take me back to court over something else, over a custody schedule. And she doesn't know I've already been starting to talk to a lawyer. So I was just kind of like, fine. Also, I'm not doing what you asked me to anymore. So yeah, it's I kind of was been like mentally preparing myself for like a couple of weeks about this stuff, and it's looking like it's going to happen now. So that's what it is.
So I've got a quick question. Sorry, Garrett. So she's threatening to take you to court for not paying your 60% of her childcare. Is that what she's threatening?
And I had told her like a week or so ago that I didn't want to reimburse her directly anymore because I thought this was ridiculous and I wanted to know who these people were. So I told her, I was like, I will pay them directly. I will pay them what I need to pay them, or whatever my portion is, whatever we agreed upon, but I'm paying them directly. And I said, you can give them my contact information, or you can give it to them yourself. I don't care. And so then she sent me some random like bill or receipt that she paid them. And she's like, well, I already paid them. And I was like, well, that's your problem. I told you I didn't want to pay you anymore. I want to pay these people, and I have a right to know who's watching our kids.
Gotcha.
She still doesn't think that I do, and she still hasn't told me who's watching them. And I told her, I was like, I find that very suspicious that you're not allowing me to know who these people are.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
That could be any number of things that I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but
yeah.
Well, according to my lawyer, just talking about this the other day, something similar. Well, you have every right as a parent to know who's watching your kids. So that should be something that you have.
Well, yeah. Dude, my question was,
well, hey, so you guys, let's hold off and we'll get into we'll definitely spend some time with this because there's a lot to it. So cool, man. Well, good to see you back. Sorry to hear about the challenges, but that's what we're here for, my friend.
Yeah.
All right. Rob, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Good.
So I got.
Hey, Rob, can I interrupt you? I've got some error message popping up here, and I'm gonna make Garrett. I'm gonna make you a co-host here in case something happens here, because I'm not sure what's going on here. Keep saying it's logging me out of this, so I don't want to drop the call and have everybody dropped off. So I'm making you a co-host here, so it'll at least keep some continuity of the meeting, and then I can log back on if it knocks me off. Okay, sorry, I apologize, Rob.
Hey, no worries. My divorce is moving forward. Our mediation is August 15th. It's been delayed a couple times. So my background. 2 stepsons, but I got them at 5 and 6. They're 25 and 26 now. I raised them. Actually, I'm going to see the younger one today for lunch. He's coming up to Evergreen to hang out, and I'll take care of a couple things. But I got some good news. Almost 2 weeks ago, my attorney calls me, and so we're getting divorced in Florida. Have been from Colorado pretty much forever. Went to Florida with the idea. Most of you guys heard this. To avoid state income taxes. And I bought I already had a place down there, bought a house down there, block off the beach. And as soon as the wife settles in, she decides she doesn't want to be married anymore and doesn't want to be a wife and wants to start her life over again in Florida. And Florida is the worst fucking state for a man. She's going after me for lifetime alimony. And she was making 6 figures previously. Decided she can't work anymore. She was a PA. She's too stressed. She wants to retire early. I'm like, fuck that. You got to get a job. And then that blows up. So anyway, attorney calls me. Law just passed in Florida that took the lifetime alimony off the table. Check mark 1. 2.
I read that this week, and I thought of you, Rob.
Yeah,
it's like, oh yeah.
Yep. So, and then there's also the piece of the way they calculate alimony, where they look at the 2 incomes. Now that is also going to work to my advantage, where now they look at the delta, and it's like I think 30% of the delta I would have to pay, and we can also impute her income. So she hasn't worked for 2 years. So I'm going to say, hey, look, she should have been making X times 2. And here's the historical history of what we've made and contributed. And here's all the money I paid for her boys to raise them. Anyway, long story short, I'm not going to be paying lifetime alimony. The amount of alimony I'm looking at has severely gone down. And to also the fact that she had an affair on me now becomes admissible as egregious behavior in the relationship and the emotional stress that it created for me. So it's all of our points. And Gordon, you were saying, I see the light at the end of the tunnel. And also in the last few weeks, I've met some cool women as well. I'm like, okay, finally work's going good. So anyway, I'm in a good place. I'm happy. I'm like, okay, the karma gods are working. So
nice.
I'm so stoked for you, Rob. I'm so stoked. Good for you, bud.
I'm smiling, so anyway, it's in amongst us friends, it's like things are going well and I'm getting laid. So, I'm like,
it's been a while for me. I got to tell you, Rob.
Well, hey, it's great to hear some victory, some victories, and not that anything about all this is like a victory, but just to that fairness is prevailing, that's something that's going to be agreeable and give you a decent life to live after, and all of that. Their laws were archaic down there, so it was a pretty much of a mess. So I'm so glad to hear that that's changed now for you, and that's this can be a benefit.
I know there's some spiritual guys on the call, and I'm looking at it that believing that God has a plan, and I can, with confidence, now wake up every day that things are going to be okay. But there was a period there, man, where I was in the dumps, and I know some of you guys are going through that now, and just there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Well, and if I've learned anything, it comes in cycles, right? So definitely comes in cycles.
Well, and that's where it's great getting together with you guys and kind of sharing what's going on, and we can revel in one another's, success, as well as, you got a shoulder to cry on at the same time. So
yeah, for sure. Anyway, that's what we're here for.
I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, good, man.
And
it's still going to cost me a shitload of money, but it's not quite the shitload that it was before.
Tell me about it. Well,
the good thing is I've got a much better chance now of telling her to get the fuck out of the house. I'm selling it, the beach house, and it's like, you're on your own. Sorry, bitch, but
stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Jude with a quick reminder about the Divorced Advocate Foundation for Fathers, which is our nonprofit that helps dads through divorce with legal education, free or reduced cost coaching, and mental health resources. If you own a business or know someone who does, there's an easy way to help by connecting credit card processing through our partner program. Part of the fees go straight to the foundation with no added cost to the business, and 98% of businesses are actually able to save money on their processing fees. It's a win-win. So if you know a business that accepts credit cards, get them in touch with me by sending a warm introduction email to jude@thedivorcedadvocate.com, or give me a call directly at 720-255-1021.
That's got to feel great. And it does come in cycles, but I look at it like the stock market. The overall trend is up. So it's all good.
Yeah, right. For sure. Good point, Gordon. I like it.
So.
Good morning, Garrett. Oh, you're heading outside, get a little fresh air?
Yep. I walked outside. So yeah. About 2 years out now, about 2.5 from when we separated. We did all ours through mediation. So a lot of the stuff you guys, we went through the same stuff, but not as extreme, luckily. I think the main struggle right now for me is, one, getting myself back on track to being, having a healthy lifestyle, getting back out there, starting to meet people again, finding friends, that kind of stuff. Along with my daughter, she's having sleep issues. We saw a psychiatrist yesterday and got her some medicine. I don't think it helped too much last night, so we probably increased the dose there. But she's having some real challenges at both of our houses in that regard. it's impacting all of our sleep, along with, it's, I feel like I've failed a lot just in terms of how I responded in the middle of the night to her. Because it's very, very frustrating, right? When you get woken up every, 30 minutes or an hour in the middle of the night when they're with you. So I do feel some guilt in that regard, but that's our current struggles on this side. That and just trying, like I said, just trying to get back out there, meet more people again, make friends, meet some women, maybe get laid like someone else is talking. Just trying to get back out there and have fun again. But things are looking up. I have a new place, got a new job, so can't complain in that regard. Like you said, the trend is up. I just got to get back on the horse.
Nice. Well, and you're already doing it. You were at the gym last night, my friend. So,
yep,
good job. And it looks like you got a nice backyard in that new spot there. It's
this is in
nice.
Lake. Sorry, I know it's
nice.
But yeah, there's quite a bit of yard for the daughter to play in, and then the neighbor, there's a 5-year-old girl behind us. So
cool.
My daughter's 6.
Good. All right. Good morning, Ken.
Good morning. I need to be a little bit more proactive on my mute button. I can never seem to find it. Hey guys. Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle of it. I was married for about 12 years. Ex filed for divorce just in April. Been bumpy with orders and stuff like that. We've got 2 kids, just about to be 14 and 16. And we're right in between where we had temporary orders. We've got permanent orders that are looming out in November. I would say I'm probably in a decent space. Actually, I moved into this apartment, this condo here just about 2 weeks ago. I had been kind of bouncing around a couple different places before that. That being said, very fortunate to have a couple of good places to lay my head, good friends and whatnot. It's interesting that this concept you guys are bringing up, it comes in cycles. I am trying to be proactive. I'm planning for, this permanent order, and I've got trying to figure out how to plan for like the asset division. That's kind of the big thing. I felt like everything that's happened to date has been, such a rush, such a panic, preparing for various steps along the way. So that's kind of, I feel like I'm in a little bit of a lull here. Fear of being a little bit complacent, but I probably deserve it a little bit. It's been hell up to this point. And so just kind of enjoying, landing in, I have a decent condo here. It's kind of shit on the outside, but it's comfortable. My kids have been here. I've got the 50-50. So they spent their first week here, and, people talk about the resiliency of kids all the time. And I think, it's so easy to live in our own fear and try not to project our fear on them. But I'm super thankful they came in, and my kids, like my son is just, he really likes clean lines and like the modern style, homes. And he's like, Dad, this is really nice.
Oh,
and it just took an incredible weight off of my shoulders. Both my kids have said, Dad, these beds are really comfy. And that's it, man. I'm just I'm riding that as long as I can.
Dude, it's awesome. Some more good news. And yeah, the cases, just like everything that was said about ups and downs, your case is going to go up and down, right? There's going to be a lot of activity sometimes, and then there's going to be a lull, right? And it's hard during that lull time to not feel like something's going to happen, a shoe's going to drop, or you're supposed to be doing something, or you're going to not, you're going to miss something. But it's okay, right? Like, it's okay to just take a break from having to think about all that stuff all the time. I mean, it's still going to be on your mind, but it's, there might not be that activity that is necessary.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It was such a sprint, for the first couple months. I felt like I was on my heels the whole time.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I still remember. I was just going to add that. I still remember when everything kind of, I got to that point and I laid down on the couch in the living room at my new apartment. And I remember just thinking, man, I don't remember the last time I did this. It feels nice.
Yeah, 100%. When I walked into this condo, I had rented it like 6 weeks before just to get it on the books that I had a good place for the kids. So I had 50-50. And I was dreading coming in here the whole time. And so, I finally got in, put my stuff in here, realized, I have like a fraction of my stuff, right? A lot of it's still at the house. Moved in here, thought I'd been dreading taking steps backward, more of the college roommate lifestyle type of environment.
Mm-hmm.
Came in, just kind of had that reminder. I don't need shit. I don't need stuff. I have what I need. Very minimalist. The place is comfortable. I felt like, I almost feel like I'm home. It's definitely not my home, but it's as close as I'm going to get for a while.
Right. Yeah. And
Good,
I don't know about you guys, but for me, one of the most freeing things that I enjoyed of the divorce, which, there's not many things you can enjoy, right? But was just the amount of crap I got rid of. And you can take that any way you want, right?
What's her name?
It can mean multiple things.
Well,
Right
Ken, I know one of the big fears that I had, was with the kids, and just because I had 1-year-old and 3-year-old, and not knowing how this is going to affect them was probably the biggest fear I've had through this entire divorce. Just wanting to make sure that they were going to be okay. And one of the things that I found was a lot of the fears that I had created in my head were completely unfounded. And these kids have been absolutely fine with this whole thing. There's been a little bit of my daughter going, I miss mommy, but I'm sure she's saying, I miss daddy when she's over at mommy's house. So that's to be expected. But honestly, these kids have almost not even blinked an eye with this whole divorce thing. And they see that I'm pretty happy. So they love coming over to see me, and they love having their own rooms at my house, that kind of a thing. So I think that really allayed a lot of my fears, was just how the kids have done since the divorce. So, I don't know, maybe advice to you is don't expect doom and gloom for the kids. They're actually going to be quite all right, and they're going to be much happier having a happy dad going forward,
Yeah, Gordon, I want to take a minute here. You got to celebrate that, and I want to give you credit for that because, kids are resilient, whatever. It's hard to understand, but they're very influenced by us and their parents. And if they're doing that well, you got to take that, and you got to take some credit for that, for bearing the burden, bearing the pain, and not passing that down. So good job, bud. Good job.
Thanks. That means a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Well, cool, Ken. I'm glad for you. And Gordon, on that note, why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure. Ken gets me all emotional. Now it's my turn.
Yeah.
I see how y'all are. So lately I've had, like I said, I had some really good news where the house got gosh, what the hell is the guy's name? The appraiser came out, and the beautiful part was this was one of Jen's lawyers, or Jen's lawyer basically said, hey, here's 2 people for appraising the home. So I used one of her people, and it came back real high. And at the first time, and then I found out, well, that's because this moron has not done his math correctly, and he added is where he should have subtracted. And here's a tip, Jude, that if anyone's doing a buyout, they have an appraiser come, go and do what I did, which was look at every possible thing that's wrong with the house, go out and get a bid to fix it, like windows, foundation, flooring, you name it. Get every single receipt you can and estimate you can from them, and that will drive down the appraisal of the house. So that drove down the appraisal of the house by at least $150,000 for me. And so basically now the appraisal that I'm getting for the house is less than I bought it for, which is fantastic. So that's a big tip, and I celebrated the hell out of that night. That was really nice. I pulled some really good beer out of my cupboard, and that was a good night for me. Now, one of the things that I'm looking for today is maybe get a little. I think we talked about it a little bit last time, Jude. My wife is wanting to bring 2 of her friends onto the witness stand, and these are just friends, like her 2 best friends. And I'm thinking, we already have a parenting plan in place. What in the hell are you planning on doing? And what could this possibly do for you in our case here. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Another thing that I got lately and was my daughter Joy. I picked her up for this last visit, and she's telling me on the ride home, "Mommy says you're going to take all of her money." I'm like, oh, well, okay. And it's funny because, Jude, I don't know if you saw the wackadoo parenting control plan that I sent you. Yeah. But she's basically saying in this parenting plan that she doesn't want us to talk about the legal stuff or the divorce in front of the kids. Apparently that plan's just for me. So she can do whatever she wants, but the plan is for me. So she's talking about all this stuff, in front of the kids, so much to the point where the Joy is like coming to me and saying, "Hey, Mommy's afraid you're taking all of her money." My wife is also being a royal bitch at our drop-offs lately, and giving me tone and attitude and all kinds of stuff. And I've basically just told her to shut up and pay attention to the parenting plan that's originally in place, which is supposed to be, hey, we're supposed to be pleasant and smile at each other for these parenting drop-offs. You're not doing very well there. Garrett, I hear you about the sleep issues. I'm struggling off and on with it. I've been sleeping a lot better in the past, I'd say, few weeks, but it's interesting because a lot of this stuff, like I'll have triggers and then I'll go back to, because I have this awful pattern right now where I'll get up at 3 or 4 in the morning and not be able to get back to sleep. And that sucked. So yeah, I'm still having some sleep issues there. And then I'm trying to get through what Jen's wackadoo. Luckily, I talked to my lawyer and we went through her wacky. It was 10 pages, guys, 10 pages of stuff that she wanted me to do in this parenting plan. It was insane. So went through it line by line with my lawyer, and he's like, "Yeah, we're going to throw almost all of this away."
Sounds like took everything that's out there on the internet and put it into one document.
Pretty much, yeah. And it was just wacky stuff like, "Hey, don't call me by my name. Call me Mommy in front of the kids." Like, Jen, I'm sorry, but no, that's not going to happen. You're out of your freaking mind. So yeah, a bunch of weird, wacky stuff like that. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. And the great part is I've got mediation August 4th coming up. And like I said, my court date is very much immediately after that, on August 18th. And I found out how insanely expensive going to court is going to be. So I'm not really excited about that either. But according to my lawyer, it's going to be twice as expensive for her. So somewhat of a smile on my face for that. Yeah.
In terms of the mommy daddy thing, I don't want to jump into it now, Jude, and it's a little bit different than what you were talking about there, Gordon. But there was the lady that did our parenting plan as part of our mediation did have some thoughts around that. So we can jump back to that, Jude, later. I don't want to start now.
Sure.
Are you talking about calling her Mommy? Is that what you're saying, Garrett?
Yeah. And
okay, because she also wants me to call her father Papa and her mom Nana. And I'm just like, okay, this is just stupid.
Yeah, to a certain, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it really comes down to whatever the kid wants and feels comfortable with.
Sure.
But you do it? No, that's
actually what it comes down to is you can't compel speech in individuals, period. So that's really what it comes down to if you want to talk about it that way. But we can talk about it in a myriad of different ways. But anyway.
Another tasty bit from it, Garrett, was she didn't want me to introduce any significant other to the kids unless I was dating them for a year. And my lawyer says basically, well, it appears like she doesn't want you dating anybody, and you're not allowed to. She needs to get over this.
We put a clause in there, and Jude, I'm sorry, but I do think this is important for all guys to hear. Mm-hmm. We did put it when we both wanted this. We put a clause in our agreement that says we will not enter. Like, there's no time frame specified, but it says we will not introduce anybody unless we've been dating them for an extensive, a decent period of time, something to that effect. And if the other party wants, which I'm always going to ask for, is to provide a background check. And the only thing that will immediately disqualify someone, because otherwise you're going to get into nitpicking, is anything to do with children.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing, though, with that, Garrett, is you can't disqualify anybody. It would be impossible.
Agreed.
So So
Agreed.
trying to, it's one thing to put some of this stuff in there as guidelines that you both agree to, but as soon as one person doesn't agree to it, then it's incumbent upon the other person to try to enforce that. And pretty much most every time I've seen and heard about this, the court goes, what the heck? Are the kids in imminent danger? Are they dying? And if not, why are you in front of me? You're wasting my freaking time. You guys go figure it out. So, I mean, there's some of that. That's a lot of that language around some of the stuff that Gordon's talking about is if two people can just, are trying to align things so that they have an agreement, so that they're looking at the best interest of the of the kids, because the courts absolutely, I mean, they're not going to put you in contempt for introducing a boyfriend or girlfriend earlier than 6 months or a year. They're not going to throw you in jail, and they're not going to fine you, and they're not going to sanction you, and they're not going to. I mean, what else are they going to do with it? So,
ours is a good compromise because it makes sense, and I think any court would find. At least I would hope. I'm making an assumption here, guys. I would hope that any court would find anybody that has a criminal background of offenses against children would not be good to have around my children.
Yeah. Well, I will let you know the outcome of mine, Garrett, because I'm going through that right now. So we'll see in past history with the other ones that I've dealt with, or any indication that the court really gives a shit. It's going to be no.
Yeah. And you also got to look, Garrett, at the fact that my wife wants to control and punish me any chance she gets. So if I do something like put a background check thing in there, every time I go out on a date with somebody, I'm going to have to run a background check. So that is absolutely,
which actually is not that bad of an idea anyway to have as a standard practice these days. But I mean, that's a different topic, guys.
The few dates after I go on like 1 or 2 dates, maybe 2 or 3, I will go ahead and run their name just to see if some of the things they tell you line up. Because you got to imagine, guys, all of our ex-wives, they're out there dating men. So, and we know how crazy they are.
Yeah. And on that note, Andy, welcome to the group.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
I'm Andy.
Wait, Andy, you're still here?
Yeah.
I'm the newbie here, but I feel like I'm the veteran because I can relate to pretty much everything you guys have been talking about. I feel like I've experienced it all. My case is going on 5 years now. I've got a daughter who's 11 and a son who just turned 10. So nearly half of their lives have been, enveloped in this divorce between me and my ex, which is quite sad, I find. I don't even know where to start, quite honestly, because I've had just a turbulent 5 years, particularly the last 2.5 years, have been complete misery. I currently have 10% custody, no overnights. And that's been in place for almost 2 years now. I've had 5 CPS reports in a matter of 14 months. Luckily, I haven't had one in about a little over a year now. All the CPS reports came back as unfounded, or either unfounded or inconclusive.
Sorry, is that like Child Protective Services?
Yeah, Child Protective Services. Okay. So I'm in, just so you guys know, I'm in Orange County, California. And we proceeded towards trial in the fall of 2020 in the public courts. I didn't understand what a shit show the public courts are. That was also right in the middle of COVID. And so our first trial got continued on the day of, which was devastating. And I didn't quite understand what shitstorm was coming from that point in time, because at that point in time in December of 2020, I had nearly 50-50 custody. But from that point on, the wheels completely fell off the bus. My son wrote me a hate letter for Christmas that completely blindsided me. I actually had initiated the kids getting some therapeutic support just about 6 months earlier because COVID was rampant. Our divorce was starting to get kind of contentious. My ex had gotten engaged and was planning on getting married in July of 2020. So there was a lot of things changing that I thought the kids would benefit from having a therapist that they can talk to about this stuff. Well, that really backfired on me because after a few sessions with the therapist, my ex and I agreed that there was no reason for the kids to go because they seemed fine. Well, in December, I started seeing some things with my daughter that I thought it'd be good for them to check in with the therapist. And like I said, that was on Christmas morning when I got a hate letter from my son. And granted, I was doing things like YMCA campouts with my kids earlier in the year. Like to me, everything more or less was copacetic.
Sorry, did you say? Sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead, Garrett.
I just asked, did you say how old they were? Sorry.
Yeah, they're 11. They're now 11 and 10.
Okay. Sorry. Go ahead. Thank you.
I had actually made a comment to a couple of my family members that Thanksgiving, that quite honestly, the hardest part of the divorce up to that point was not the kids. It was just dealing with my ex and trying to get through this process. Kids seemed relatively fine. Well, that took a total 180 on me in December. And the therapist, who I learned was unlicensed at the time, and didn't really have any experience in the stuff that my kids were going through. She diagnosed them with basically an adjustment disorder related to the divorce and said that they needed to be in therapy once a week. I was like, wow, it's not really something that I wanted, but I was going, I still at that point in time trusted the therapist and said, okay, if that's what you think, we'll do that. Well, from that point forward, we had a lot of really difficult custody exchanges. My kids were resisting what they call resist and refuse contact, RRC. We've had to call the police during custody exchanges because I didn't know what to do. Because my kids were resisting, my ex was refusing to leave. The kids were totally out of whack. I mean, I could tell you some stories that just would blow your mind. But this went on for about 5 months, leading up to our second trial that was on the books, or a second attempted trial, that also got continued. At that time, the judge made an order for a 730 evaluation. You ever?
Yeah, I'm familiar.
I don't know if you guys have had a 730 evaluation, but it's like getting a rectal exam.
So it's so guys in Colorado, it's like a PRE. It's kind of between a PRE and a CFI, but it's court ordered and the court executes it as opposed to a private party like it is in Colorado. So California does it through the courts, and then the court has people that facilitate it.
I was about to say, Andy, I think Jude's, and I could be wrong, Jude, but I think you know a lot about all this. So
yeah, I have clients in California that have gone through this.
Yeah,
it's awful. So they assigned a PhD child psychologist to come and do it's called a child custody evaluation. Basically, my ex made this motion to the court at that continued trial that the judge needed to do something because my family situation was in disarray. The kids are resisting custody exchanges, all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. So the court, in its infinite wisdom, assigns this custody evaluator to do this report. It wound up costing us $31,000 for this report. And that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the expenses I've incurred on this whole thing. Combined, we've spent over $1 million now. My ex has spent 2/3 of that. I've spent about 1/3 of that.
Yeah. So did did the evaluation result in something from the court, or did you just get that done and that's where you stand right now?
So the evaluation period was about 6 months. It took longer and costed more. Of course, I've learned that whatever you think in your mind you're going to spend in terms of time and money, multiply that by 2.
Yeah.
And that's what it's going to really cost you.
And so I'm curious, Andy, if you could fill in a blank for me, when did the 50-50 go down to 10%?
Yeah. So in July of 2020, I took my kids on a family vacation to my brother's house. It actually went quite well. There was one night that the wheels completely fell off the bus thanks to my ex, but I won't get into that part of the story. But more or less, it was a good trip. When we got back, my son made an allegation. Mind you, he was 8 at the time, and his cousin was 7. His female cousin. My son made an allegation that his cousin inappropriately touched him multiple times throughout the trip. This was the subject of the 3rd CPS report. And my ex filed an ex parte motion to take my custody away. And the judge granted it. So I had my custody taken away for 5 weeks pending a trial. During that 5 weeks, that judge rolled off the bench. A new judge came on. I show up to the trial 5 weeks later, and this judge has no idea what's going on with our case. And he says, well, I see there's a 730 evaluation. I really need to see that report before I can make any substantive changes to the custody schedule. But the California supports frequent and consistent contact with both parents. So he goes, well, we'll give you 2 days a week, but no overnights. So I got Sundays all day and Wednesday just after school. And from that point forward, that's what my custody schedule has more or less been. No vacation time, no overnights.
And that's been for 2 years?
Almost, yeah.
And it's been for 2 years because the custody evaluation did not get done?
So the custody evaluation got done. Took her about 6 months to complete that. And that's when this whole RRC label got put on my case. Now
what's an RRC label?
Resist and refuse contact.
Okay.
That's the behavior that my kids were displaying towards me, saying that my kids have told me they want me dead. They don't want to ever see me again. They want to live with mom full time. I've had parenting schedule negotiations with my kids and my ex in my living room, which is totally inappropriate, right? Like, you don't involve kids in that kind of conversation, but that's what my ex is doing. I know someone on this call mentioned something similar, where involving the kids in parent issues or divorce issues. Well, my ex does this on a regular basis. It's part of her way of manipulating the children, I feel like.
Very much so.
So what does your attorney say about changing this parenting time, and when will you be scheduled to go to court for a final hearing?
So, like I said, we had 2 trials continued at that point in time. The child custody evaluation comes out. I was very disappointed with it. And this was, March of 22. And I had a decision to make and at this point I was self-representing because I was sick of paying the attorney fees and I didn't like my attorney anyway. So I self-represented for about 6 months on my case. And I had a decision to make whether or not to admit that report into evidence or not. I guess you get that choice. I don't quite understand why, but given that I didn't like the report or the recommendations, I chose not to admit it into evidence. And so opposing counsel says, well, I need 5 full days of trial because now I need to get the evaluator on the stand, and I need to pull all this stuff that's in the report into evidence somehow, and she's going to do it through testimony. And the judge says, well, we don't have 5 full days of trial available. This is in March of 22. But he says, we've got 5 half days at the end of November. So that's what I'll give you. So we get trial scheduled for 5 half days at the end of November. And meanwhile, my custody schedule doesn't change at all. Opposing counsel and I did agree to implement the recommendations of the report because I wanted to make sure that there was some progress made between that time and when trial happened in terms of therapy. And so November rolls around, and about a week before trial, the court says, oh, we have too many domestic violence cases. You got to take your case off a calendar and reschedule it. This is the 3rd time that happened.
So when's it rescheduled for?
So at that point in time, we gave up on the public courts and agreed to go to a private court. Very expensive, but I didn't see any other choice. So we agreed to go to a private court, and we recently had 8 days of trial. You can imagine how much that costs. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. And we had a 5-day custody trial in April. And then in June, we had a 3-day non-custody trial. Well, the results from the custody trial, I got a temporary judgment on that didn't change my custody schedule. They basically said that the court kind of came down heavy-handed on me, I felt like, and said that because really all the judge did was rely on the expert testimony of mostly of the child custody evaluator, who said this is an RRC case, and it's because they basically said that I'm a authoritarian and unempathetic parent. And that's why they didn't call me abusive. Like my ex has called me, she called me on the stand. She said she thought that I was abusive towards my son, even though there's 5 CPS reports that say that didn't ever happen. There's therapists involved. None of the therapists said that I'm abusive, even though my ex says I'm abusive. But what they were able to say is get a lot of the child custody evaluator and was that I'm authoritarian and I'm unempathetic, which, I've been working with the family therapists for over a year, and I've basically come to the point where I realize I can't do anything to discipline my children. I can't touch them. I can't even, I have no disciplinary measures that I can take towards my children. And this actually came to a head just about a week ago. My kids have been physically violent towards me. My son hit me in the face last week after I threw him a surprise birthday party because he wanted to go home to his mom 30 minutes earlier than the custody schedule allowed. This was kind of a climax of something that I saw coming, because my kids have complete authority over me because I don't have any disciplinary measures available to me, because if I touch them, I get CPS called on me, and then my ex files an ex parte motion to take my custody away, which is exactly what happened last week, actually, because I called the police after my son had hit me in the face and was hitting me with a stick and kicking me in the shins, and my daughter holding onto my wrist. They had cornered me in the kitchen, and I'm trying not to escalate things, so I didn't know what to do. So finally I called the police and said, okay, you guys are going to treat me like this. We're going to get a third party involved. And the police told me that I had demonstrated how I disciplined my kids before. I would grab my son under his arm like this. There's a nerve underneath there.
Yeah.
I'd drive my thumb right into that nerve, get his attention. And I demonstrated that to the police, and they said, the police officer told me, sir, if you that first of all, that's not corporal punishment, he said, because I have a no corporal punishment order in my order. But the police officer said, sir, if you don't discipline your children, they're going to become my problem when they turn 18.
Yeah.
Well, it's already not just you, man. It's the circumstances, right? And what's happened so far that has led to, or has caused them to be able to have control over you instead of you being the parent.
Right.
Yeah. Dude, I'm sorry to hear about these challenges, tough spots.
Yeah.
I do. So, if there's stuff that you want to bring up and you want to talk about or you want to bring up to the group, but one of the things that you mentioned was this authoritarian, unempathetic language that's being used by therapists these days. Because I just got done with having a conversation around this too, with the issue that I'm dealing with my 17-year-old in the physical altercation that we got into. It is beginning to be something that is utilized and weaponized against dads and men in general, and because they can't, because the narrative and the ability to negatively impact our ability to be with our parent, with our kiddos, because there is no real physical abuse, right? Like, we're not physically abusing them, but they still want to figure out how to have some control over it and manipulate the children. So this is just another code for, like, because they can't use the toxic masculinity thing anymore, right? They can't. That's become too much of a trigger wire, right?
To hear the rest of this episode and access the corresponding resources, visit thedivorcedadvocate.com and become a member of our community. It's free to join and will provide you with the resources you deserve as a divorced or divorcing dad. Thank you for listening. God bless, and I'll talk with you next week.